Hi everyone. Are you curious to see if split lock washers, internal tooth lock washers, or Locknut secure nuts and bolts better? Let's find out. I'm going to use a digital scale attached to a torque wrench. The digital scale will provide more accurate readings. Here's my test rig. Bolts for 3 sets of plain nuts, split lock washers, internal tooth lock washers, and lock nuts. I'll start with threading on plain nuts with no lock washers. Nuts with split lock washers. Nuts with internal tooth lock washers. And lock nuts with nylon inserts. I was planning to include external tooth lock washers, but found that the teeth don't properly engage with the nuts. I found that the inside end of the torque wrench handle is 12 inches from the center of the head. This means that I can hang my scale from this point and the pound reading on the scale will be the foot-pounds of torque on the nut or bolt. I performed a test with the digital scale reading 15 pounds and the torque wrench reading 15 foot-pounds. Now I turn on the digital scale, let it automatically zero, and set it to read pounds. I then turn it upside down so that the torque readings will include the weight of the scale. All the test samples will be torqued to 13 foot-pounds. A couple of guides recommend that 3/8 by 16 A307 plain bolts be torqued to 13 foot-pounds. Now to test how much torque is needed to loosen each nut. First the plain nut with sample 1 loosening at 12.6 foot-pounds. Sample 2, 12 foot-pounds. And sample 3, 10.6 foot-pounds. Next up are the split lock washers with sample 1 loosening at 12.2 foot-pounds. Sample 2 at 11.4 foot-pounds. And sample 3 at 10.2 foot-pounds. Next are the internal tooth lock washers with sample 1 loosening at 7.4 foot-pounds. Sample 2 at 8.2 foot-pounds. And sample 3 at 9.6 foot-pounds. Last are the lock nuts with sample 1 loosening at 12 foot-pounds. Sample 2 at 10.4 foot-pounds. And sample 3 11.6 foot-pounds. And the average results are plain nuts 11.73 foot-pounds, split lock washers 11.27 foot-pounds, internal tooth lock washers 8.4 foot-pounds, and lock nuts 11.33 foot-pounds. This small scale test surprised me with the plain nuts performing better than split lock washers, internal tooth lock washers, and lock nuts. A difference I did notice was that once loosened, I was able to loosen the plain nuts with my fingers, and the same with the internal tooth lock washers. But I was not able to turn the split lock washer samples with my fingers or the lock nut samples. I needed to turn the nuts with the split lock washers about another full turn to be able to fully loosen them with my fingers and fully unthread the lock nuts until the nylon inserts past the end of the bolts. I hope that you found this helpful. Here's another video that you might be interested in.